Listen, I know in school they teach all about topics such as history, algebra, physics, science, and all of these other topics and everything like that. And no shade thrown to any one of these topics, but don't you ever wonder how come they don't teach you about finances or money or how it works or anything like that? The actual things that you're going to utilize in life, right? Guess what? In this video, I decided to go ahead and put together the essential lessons that they did not teach in school that you definitely need to learn about in order to be able to build financial independence, financial freedom, and financial success. So you definitely want to be able to go ahead and tune into this video because I'm going to be dropping some game-changing knowledge for you guys that can hopefully or even potentially change your life around. So let's go ahead and tune on in.
This conversation about building up your blueprint. It's time to take it because time is wasted. Go grind and chase it, don't lose it.
Hey, what's going on, Blueprint? And welcome to another dope video where we give you the blueprint on how to do shit around here. This is something that's actually been in my heart for quite some time because me being a father and also being a leader of a community as well as individuals who are looking to go ahead and reach to the level of financial freedom, I decided to go ahead and share some of the knowledge and some of the, based on my experience and trials and tribulations that I have had to learn throughout my career here. This is something, like I said, it's been heavy on my heart in the aspect of why I believe that education is failing us, because they are not teaching some of the key principles of what individuals need to learn to be able to go ahead and be successful in America. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, I know there's a heavy burden or a heavy emphasis on teaching certain materials, curriculums, or whatever the case may be, right? English is one of them, history, math, science, algebra, right? That's all fine and dandy and everything like that, especially if you are planning on entering a field where these subjects are required for you to be able to be successful and effective in this field. But for the most part, what I believe how schools are failing us is they're not teaching us the core principles about finance and about how actually money works and what everything that orbits around it, right? And I've decided to go ahead and drop the 5 key principles of what school is failing to teach us and what you need to learn, especially if you are a parent or if you're a young adult. You definitely want to tap into this video because what I'm going to discuss today are things that if you have not learned already, is something that you want to go ahead and start educating your children. If you're a parent or if you're a young adult, you want to start focusing and paying attention to, because guess what? This can be the difference of you having a successful lifestyle or actually struggling throughout life, how majority of Americans are doing nowadays. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into it. So the number one thing that schools are failing to teach individuals out there is how taxes work. Okay, and I strategically picked this one as number one because, believe it or not, taxes should be your number one focus. Okay, taxes is actually going to be your biggest expense throughout your life. No matter what your conception or perception may be, taxes is going to be the number one thing that you're always going to focus on, right? What they always say, there's 2 things that's certain in life, right? Death and taxes. So it's definitely important that you can major emphasis on this, because guess what? Your income isn't yours until the IRS actually says so. The main thing you need to learn about taxes is that, you know, the difference between deductions and credits. We're not going to go in depth about the tax code and everything like that because, trust me, very complex. It's always evolving, always changing depending on politics and the time that we're in society. So to make things less complicated, what I wanted to share with you is learning the difference between deductions and credits, which are the 2 main categories of taxes, right? So you want to make sure that you're in a position that you're minimizing your deductions and also maximizing your credits. That is the main point and concept that you want to understand here. And of course, aligning yourself with a tax professional or a CPA is a great strategy. Disclaimer, this video is for entertainment purposes only, so definitely make sure that you align yourself with a tax strategist or a CPA that can help you out when it comes to this particular category or anything else I discuss in this video. When it comes to deductions, you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of all of the available tax loopholes that are out there. This is something that the wealthy and the successful individuals have been doing for generations and generations. Warren Buffett even said it once before that his secretary pays more in taxes than he do. Okay, now I want you to have that sink in for a second. The most accomplished multi-billionaire, the most world-renowned investor throughout history actually pays less in taxes than his secretary does. So that lets you know that there are many tax loopholes out there that many Americans are simply unaware of, and having access to this knowledge and taking advantage of it is something that you definitely want to do, because of course the wealthy on the flip side understand the tax credits that are available to them and they utilize it to their advantage. So number one, learning how taxes work is definitely something that I highly encourage each and every person to do. All right. Number two, what a lot of people also need to understand is how to sell. Listen, how to sell is something that is extremely important. Now, you don't have to be a salesman necessarily just to be able to have this essential trait, right? Because guess what? You're always going to be selling yourself in life. Whether it's you're selling to a job, you're selling yourself to your spouse, you're selling yourself to be able to get a raise with your boss. No matter whatever the case may be, you're always selling yourself. And one thing you need to understand in life, people buy people, not products. So, when it comes to selling, learning the art of negotiation, persuading, overcoming objection, critical thinking, this is what learning how to sell eventually allows you to learn these valuable traits, right? And in order to become a well-rounded person and to be able to go ahead and maximize your potential, learning how to sell is something that's going to be very essential. Just to give you a quick story, I've been a salesman pretty much all my life since I was junior in high school. Actually, my second job was a full commission job, and it was going through I was a telemarketer, and basically going through that trial and tribulation of learning how to sell at such a young age will allow me to be able to go ahead and develop a skill set that I can tell you is just been absolutely extraordinary in my life. It has allowed me to go ahead and develop certain soft skills that, again, the schools simply do not teach. They do not teach these things, and believe it or not, by learning how to sell is going to mold you, transform you, and build you in tremendous ways that you simply do not know. Because again, like I said, learning how to sell is something that you definitely want to do. So when it comes to learning how to sell, have the mindset of always be closing, right? Getting results, being consistent. That's one thing that learning how to sell ultimately is going to allow you to do as well too, because consistency is key on anything in life, right? Learning to not give up and overcome objection, okay? Which is one of the core tenets of financial freedom and financial independence, right? Now, there's many people out there that they're comfortable living a 9-to-5 job. They want that security blanket of having a certain amount each and every week, right? But guess what? That places you in a rat race. And although no shade to anybody that's out there working a 9-to-5, having an honest living, but it's a different animal. It's a different skill set when you are living off of commission or working off commissions, right? It gives you that extra drive, that motivation, because yes, one day you could earn XYZ, but guess what? You always have the ability for the next day or the next few days to make it up, right? Not only make it up, but also earn a lot more than you expected. When it comes to learning how to sell, again, I could highly encourage anyone to be able to go ahead and learn this. And this is something that you can practice on a day in and day out basis. It just doesn't have to be on a job aspect. This is something that you can do with your spouse, with your children, with your co-workers, just in your interactions in day-to-day life and relationships with others. Learning how to sell ultimately is going to put you in a better position to be able to go ahead and maximize everything else we're going to discuss on this list. All right, which now we're going to go ahead and move on to the third thing that they don't teach us in school that you need to learn about, which of course is self-explanatory, is learning how money works. Okay, listen, contrary to what you may believe, money is a life skill. Okay, how to make it, how to keep it, how to save it. Money is a life skill that a lot of people unfortunately just do not know, right? Now, of course, this is a life skill that the wealthy and successful individuals have mastered throughout the history of mankind. And if you're able to go ahead and master this, you can also put yourself in the same conversations and in the same category as these individuals as well too, right? Because money is just like energy. It flows to where it's treated well. So it's like a girl that you're courting, right? If you're treating a girl right, if you're courting her and you're being nice to her and you're showing her all the affection and doing all the right things, guess what? She's going to choose you, right? Same thing with money. Have that same mindset, that same approach ultimately is going to allow you to be successful and learn how money works. Okay, now the key thing I want to go ahead and talk about, money is not about what you make or how much you spend, but ultimately it's about how much you're able to save and keep, right? These are two distinct skill sets here, right? Earning money and making money versus keeping it and saving it is two very different things. A lot of people not only are failing to make that distinction, but I see a lot of people, including myself for a very long time, being able to earn it and make it, and unfortunately not knowing how to keep it and save it. So the key thing is I want to share with you is learning how to save and keep money is a valuable skill set, which is ultimately something that is going to be able to have you build wealth, build generational wealth, and unlock financial freedom for yourself. All right. Now, one of the key components in learning how to do, which I want to go ahead and share with you before we move on to the next topic, is the power of compound interest. Now, compound interest, what they say, is the eighth wonder of the world. Nevertheless, learning the power of compound interest is something that I highly encourage you, especially parents, all of my parents out there, teach this to your children, all right, especially at a young age. This goes into the discussion, what I've just shared about learning how to go ahead and keep and save money. And it could be something very small, like investing $10 per day, or just by building up this habit of compound interest, because $10 per day is, guess what, at the end of the month is going to be able to go ahead and earn you a savings, which at the end of the year, at the end of 2 years, at the end of 3 years, if you're investing this properly and you're not spending it, you're saving it, over a course of time, you'll be able to go ahead and see how this is passive extra income that you're able to go ahead and build and accumulate wealth for yourself. Okay, so this is what they call the snowball effect, right? Compound interest, listen, even if it's $10, $15, $20 on a weekly, monthly basis, this is something that's going to just ultimately, you set it and forget it, will allow you to build wealth on top of what you're already making, right? But of course, in order for you to do this, you have to learn the power of paying yourself. And I see a lot of people failing on this as well too. They're paying their bills, they're paying their mortgage, they're taking care of their lifestyles, but not ultimately paying yourself. So if you want to be able to take advantage of compound interest, pay yourself first, okay? Paying yourself first is going to ultimately put you in position. Guess what? If you're not taking care of yourself first, how are you able to take care of anything or anyone else afterwards? So a very powerful message, and I definitely want to encourage everyone to do as you're learning these things and as you're going through adulthood, is put in a certain portion of your earnings to make sure that you pay yourself, take care of yourself, as this is going to allow you to be able to go ahead, build yourself up, and take advantage of everything that I'm mentioning here. All right. Also, how money works is knowing the difference between good debt and bad debt. there's a big misconception that debt is bad, right? Stay away from debt. Pay cash for everything. That can be farthest from the truth, right? Now, bad debt, which is your consumer debt, of course, this is what you avoid. This is the misconception that people are unaware of. And what is bad consumer debt? Things such as luxury items, unnecessary spending, unnecessary items that really drives our economy, but at the same sense, it's also hurting the wealth gap for a lot of individuals out there. So now there's good debt out there, which is buying into assets, investing, right? These are the things this is the type of debt that you want to be able to get yourself in, because this is going to allow you to put you in position to ultimately build wealth for yourself, right? Moving on to number 4, because we want to go ahead and speed up this video here, is entrepreneurship. Okay. Nearly a quarter of all businesses fail every year, and about 2/3 don't even make it past the first 5 years. All right. Now, although with these staggering numbers right here, this shouldn't discourage you from learning the power of entrepreneurship. Small businesses is the backbone of America. And nowadays in 2025, right, such words such as side hustle and things like that, a lot of people more and more are wanting to be able to go ahead and start their own side business, especially in the gig economy that we're in right now. So you want to go ahead and start teaching yourself as well as your children the early stages of entrepreneurship. Most people have an idea, have a dream, or have a business that they would like to get into, right? Because I believe God put everybody on this earth for a purpose. And normally, if you have a talent, we are in a day and age where you can leverage that talent and you can leverage that skill set. Well, guess what? Learning the power of an entrepreneurship and not being afraid of failure is something that I highly encourage each and every person to be able to start undertaking as soon as possible. Great thing about it is entrepreneurship has no discrimination on age. So it doesn't matter if you're 10 years old or 72 years old, you can always be able to go into business for yourself, start earning for yourself, and execute some of the strategies that I discussed earlier, such as taxes and how money works and everything like that. But one thing I do want to mention is when you get into entrepreneurship, it also unlocks the power of risk taking. A lot of people just afraid to take risk, and I get it. Sometimes it can be a trauma that you've experienced or something like that, but learning to take risks is going to be a necessary component if you want to be able to go ahead and be successful in entrepreneurship. Guess what? It's not about how many times you fail, it's about how many times you get up. That is inevitable. But learning the power of getting up, brushing yourself off, keep pushing forward is something and a skill set that's ultimately going to allow you to be able to win. Listen, it's not about how many times you go at it. You just need to win one time and it could change the course of your life. All right. Now, which brings us to my last and final essential financial tip they don't teach us in school, which is how credit works, right? It's the most important financial tool you would possess in America. And a lot of people are unaware of this, especially the Black and brown communities as well. Listen, credit impacts everything from employment. Nearly half the employers in this country do a credit check. It also affects your housing, your education, your lifestyle, investing, entrepreneurship, you name it. 9 times out of 10, credit plays a factor into the major components in your everyday life. So it's very important to understand how credit works. Different versions of credit scores. However, there's 5 main components of your credit score that you need to understand, which is your payment history is 35%, utilization is 30%, length of credit is 15%, credit mix is 10%, and inquiries is 10%. This all adds up to what your credit score is made up of. So you want to make sure as you're entering the world of credit, you understand these categories and how each and every one of them affects your credit, and also making sure that you are able to go ahead and keep an impeccable credit profile. So you have your credit score, you have your credit report, and you have your credit profile. So understanding these things will allow you to be able to go ahead and maintain a high credit score, as you want to have a credit score above the 700 range, and also have a profile that's free of negative and derogatory remarks that will prevent you and prohibit you to be able to go ahead and unlock financial freedom. Listen, learning how to build and maintain credit can be the determining factor of you being able to go ahead and move. Also learning how to leverage credit. Again, this goes back into learning how to take risks, right? Learning how to leverage credit is something that the wealthy has been able to do for a very long time. Once you're able to build and maintain credit, leveraging credit is equally as important too. Now, of course, this goes back into my earlier point. We're not going to leverage our credit for bad debt, but leverage it for good debt, for assets, income producing assets. All right. And once you're able to go ahead and learn the concept of this and put these pieces of the puzzle together, you're going to be absolutely amazed on how it's going to be a game changer and turn things around for you. All right. I hope you guys was able to go ahead and take a lot of great value of the video that I shared with you today. We have a pretty awesome community, the Credit to Game Academy, where we share with individuals how to repair, build, and leverage their credit to be able to go ahead and maximize some of the things we discussed in this video, how to go ahead and get into income producing assets, how to be able to get funding for themselves, how to be able to go ahead and live the lifestyle that they want to and unlock financial freedom. So if you want to learn more, check out the Credit to Game Academy. The link is down below in the description. As a recap, these are things that unfortunately our school system are failing to teach us, but guess what? That is no longer an excuse, because no matter where you are in life, what age you are in life, you'll be able to go ahead and take some of the valuable lessons, the 5 lessons that I've shared with you in this video, and start exercising them in your life today. And I promise you, by exercising them, you'll be amazed on how you'll be able to go ahead and turn things around for you. All right, so I hope today's video was dope. If you got a lot of great value from this video, do me a huge favor. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, as we're trying to go ahead and grow the channel. Also drop a comment and what your thoughts are on the topics that I've shared. But as always, catch you on the flip side and be safe out there. Take care. Peace.
This conversation about building up your blueprint. It's time to take it, cause time is wasted. Go grind and chase it, don't lose it. This generation need integration with information to move with. An inclination that is abiding in entertaining improvement. Yep, let's Paul with Blueprint. This guests are exclusive. Get on and tune in and then learn some new tips about credit, finance, investment. A nice chance to get rich and buy land. Flip it, quick 9 bands. Learn all the skills from Wes, he did it. Learn how to build successful business. Run up a mill and get the digits. Run up a mill. Look, safe place where guests are speaking. Based off financial freedom. All facts, no cap, believe it. Podcast, you have to see it.